welcome to CJU. Good to see everybody. Well, I can't really see you because of the lights, but I'm assuming everyone is still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on the first day here. So I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what do we mean by the channelless consumer? So I want to start by taking you guys back to 2002. It seems like a really long time ago. It was the first season of American Idol. Kelly Clarkson won, sure as everybody can remember that. Less than 50% of the United States population had a cell phone at that time, which again seems outdated obviously now. Also in 2002, I graduated from college. I got my first grown-up job, I moved into my first grown-up apartment, and I bought my first grown-up couch. And so at that time, the buying process was pretty simple. I had some coworkers who recommended a furniture place. I went, I found a couch that I liked, I bought it. I went back a couple months later to buy a couple other things for my apartment, but that pretty much encompassed my entire buying decision process from beginning to end. Let's move to 2015, and American Idol just ended its 14th season. It seems like the 400th season, but it was only the 14th. Apparently, this guy won. $20 for whoever can name him? No? All right. 90% of the US population now has a cell phone. 64% have smartphones, and 42% have tablets. So much, much different world. And also this year, I moved into a new apartment. And once again, needed a couch. But this time, the process was much, much different. So many more different engagement points, so many different ways to research. So I started digging around. I would research blogs on my phone, on my commute to work, on the train. I didn't drive while I was doing that. I would sit on my laptop at night while I was watching TV. And I would also go into stores and check out the merchandise and try to find something that fit my comfort level, my price point, and the style that I wanted. And then also, being the good affiliate soldier that I am, would search loyalty sites and look at cash back. I went to coupon sites. I would wait through some major holiday sales to see what kind of offers and what kind of value I could get. And so you can see that the process was much, much different because there's a lot more different ways to interact with the brands. This study that was commissioned by Epsilon really drives home this point. So what we see here is the impact of digital shopping tools on consumer behavior. And you can look and see the kind of depth and breadth and the different touch points that these consumers are using is much, much different. And what is going on now and what we're seeing is this is what we're really calling the channelless consumer. It's someone that is going across device and is going across channel and really digging into and using these tools as a way to create an individualized conversion path. And so they're not following those kind of traditional channel trajectories that a lot of companies are set up for. And so this is really fundamentally changing the way that these consumers are shopping. They're expecting these brands to be wherever and whenever they are so that they can interact with them on whatever device they happen to be on or wherever they happen to be, whether it's in a store, commuting, or at home. So what I'm going to do next is bring up my panelists. And so we're going to talk through the tactics and strategies that their companies are using to engage with and influence the channelless consumer. So I have James Rhee, who's the chairman and CEO at Ashley Stewart, Amanda Hyland, who is head of marketing partnerships and brand at Living Social, and Judah Ziegler, who is the director of e-commerce at Samsung. So I just wanted to start with everyone and I kind of gave my definition and my take on what a channelless consumer is. And so I wanted each of you to give your perspective of what you're seeing in your own organizations and what that means to you. So we'll start, James, we can start on the end with you.
I view the channelless consumer no differently than I view being a friend to a person. So there are certain things that no matter what time of day, what day of the week, there are certain core values that we're putting forth for our Ashley Stewart woman. That includes kindness and support, sisterhood, fashion. But then other days of the week, other hours of the day, depending on the device, there's certain things that are around those core values that she may feel differently about. Maybe it's a day at a party, maybe it's a day she wants a good deal or a bargain, she doesn't want to shop. And after studying her, that's what we try to do. We don't compromise on core values, so it's channelless, no matter what, non-negotiable. But then based on the channel, we'll adjust things for what she wants.
Amanda?
I think today's consumer is hit with multiple touch points through different types of media. It's online, it's offline. The average living social customer, when you look at multi-touch attribution, we have 15 to 20 touch points between the first click, first impression, and the final sale. So for us, each customer is going through multiple touch points, multiple messaging, and it's figuring out which one of those are making an impact and which one of those are just background noise. And so for us, I feel like our demographic is all the channel is consumer, those 15 to 20 touch points, and it's just learning what that really means.
Great. Judah?
For Samsung, because we're a high-ticket, semi-durable good and very broad-based consumer electronics manufacturer, our consumers are going at least 13 different interactions online and offline before they're purchasing one of our products, and in some categories as many as 35. So for us, it's really important to deliver as consistent an experience, and to James's point, core to our brand's values,
right,
regardless of whether that consumer is online or offline. It used to be we used to talk a lot about the purchase funnel. Now we kind of look at it more as a merry-go-round. And the consumer is jumping on and off at their discretion. And so you've got to be ready for them and deliver the right experience wherever they're jumping on and off.
Right, great. So one of the major points that came out of the study that I referenced earlier was talking a little bit about artificial barriers that are created by the way that some organizations are structured. So you've got your email, you've got your display, you've got your affiliate, and it can be hard to coordinate those efforts across. And so, James, one of the points that we talked about in our previous conversations was how you approach that as far as the barrier goes across those channels. So can you talk a little bit about the way that you're structured and how you approach that in your organization?
Don't get any bright ideas, because you may have to think about the execution. But for those of you not running a company or owning it, you should really be thinking about, are the people running and owning it thinking this way? So it takes 2 seconds just to maybe give you a little bit of a preface. I am a oddball person to be sitting up here as CEO of Ashley Stewart. I'm still, and my whole career, have been a partner at private equity firms buying retail consumer companies that you have used or consume every day, right? So this brand, for me, I can talk later about why I'm doing what I'm doing for the last 2 years. It's sung to me. I had to do it. So when I came in as an outsider, never run a fashion business before, but I've owned a lot and I've managed CEOs. I knocked down literally every wall in the company, so I still don't have an office. I don't, right? And I have treated every person in that company as I would treat them if they were working for me or my partner at a private equity firm. So my senior management team are partners. Anyone who works at my company, I treat as if they're going to be the next CEO of the company. And everyone's taught everything about the company. I don't have drawers on my desk. My papers are sitting right there, and if I have to worry about people rifling through my papers, then it's not a very good fit for you to work at this company. And so what's happened is that in 2 years, there's a lot of complex math that's happened, and we can talk about Toyota Production System. That's over cocktails. But fundamentally, everyone's expected to know everything about this woman, head to toe, what's in her heart. And my view is that you cannot understand this woman if you're just expected to just talk to her in email. Right? I'm talking if you're a buyer, technology, CFO, I don't care who you are. You better know this woman inside and out, and you better care for her. Because if you don't care for her, you can't work at the company. And the problem with the company is that for 24 years, no one cared about the woman. And we do. And so what's happened, we can talk later, I'll keep this quietly, but the org chart has basically mimicked kind of just completely disintermediating the company. There's no lines between customer and employee and customer. I'm asking the customer to be our biggest advocate and to work for us if we deserve it, and which is why we're one of the top 10 most engaged brands on Facebook right now. She knows that we're her advocate and she's advocating for us. That's philosophically what's happened at the company. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's
Okay.
Fantastic. I want to go back to that too, because you hit on the relationship piece of it, and I think that is just as important as anything. Because again, talking about some of the barriers that get created, it can ultimately lead to a bad consumer experience. And one of the things that really resonated with me when we talked about the relationship with that consumer being intimate, and having that kind of like one-on-one almost relationship with them. And I think that's huge.
It's very direct. I view technology not as replacing a relationship. To me, it enhances it. And I don't think there's any excuse for me as the CEO and a big owner in the company to not be her single biggest advocate. That's my job. It has to be. And so they email me directly. I talk to them directly in the stores all the time. That's my job. I'm their advocate, right?
Great. And Amanda, I know that Living Social has been doing some things also internally as far as making that transition across the channels, breaking down some of those barriers. Can you talk about some of the things that you're doing over there?
Sure. I think to your point, it shouldn't just be email driven. If you shop at Living Social, you probably get a lot of emails from us. I mean, every day, sometimes 4 times a day. I think it's an average of 28 emails a week. And we do it because they drive sales, but that should not be our only conduit to the consumer. It shouldn't be our only form of a relationship. So we had just dove right into personalization. We wanted to understand you. We broke our customers down into 25 segments of different types of cohorts, and some people were discount driven, and some people were really, they wanted a brand good but at a better price. So there was different motivations, and then we were trying to figure out what they wanted to purchase. And we realized we couldn't predict a lot just from that. And it was that path to get them to the product is just as important as what you're serving in front of them. And so we have a big focus on consistency being key. We absolutely want what you get in email to match what you're seeing in social, to match what's out in our affiliate space. But we also understand that each channel drives a different behavior and drives a different form of value. So we use multi-touch attribution now so that we can see different measures of value beyond last click to figure out what's driving the person forward, what in that 15 to 20 different touch points is providing value and what's providing background noise.
Great. And Judah, this goes along with something you and I had discussed earlier also, and Amanda hit on this a little bit earlier in her introduction, but talking about those number of touch points, and I know that you're seeing the same thing in your organization, so can you talk a little bit about how you guys are responding to that?
Absolutely. I mean, for Samsung, I mean, if you think about the evolution of the Samsung brand, 20 years ago, the Samsung brand in the United States didn't really exist. Now it's a very aspirational brand, but we've reached a point where to get to that next level, we really need to develop an emotional connection with the consumer. And again, to James's point, we have to really show a real sense of caring for the consumer. And so we are now talking more and more about the consumer as customer, whereas for branded manufacturers, that's a little bit of a departure.
Right.
Most branded manufacturers talk about our channel partners as our customers, when in fact our customers are those who purchase our goods and services.
Right.
And so we're having a lot of conversations internally and creating different subsets of organizations that are cross-functional in order to address from the customer's viewpoint how best to reach them in the way that they want to be reached, reach them consistently in a way that displays our core values as a brand and enhances those values in their minds so that over time we can develop that emotional connection.
Great. And kind of going along that, this phenomenon that we're kind of seeing, this kind of chunked shopping behavior, where I talked about that a little bit in my example, where I would, be on my phone in the morning, but then on my PC at night, but then go into a store on the weekend. So mobile seems to be the device that's really facilitating that behavior and allowing that behavior. So if you can kind of discuss what you guys are seeing as far as that goes and how you're responding to that.
I mean, there are a number of interesting trends in our space. First of all, for the 36% of you who don't have smartphones, if you could come see me later, we'll talk about that because we need to have a conversation about that. But so certainly, obviously, mobile is driving a lot of shopping behavior and changes in trends. And everybody says, we have a mobile optimized site. What they really have is a responsive site. We're no different. So we have a responsive site, and everybody said, okay, we're responsive, we're done. And so when you go to Samsung.com, you're doing this for like 5 minutes to try to find what you want. That's not a mobile experience.
Right.
So one of the things that we are doing is completely redefining our mobile experience to be consistent with our desktop experience, and then to try to replicate that experience in stores. A hard challenge for us because we don't have our own offline properties, so we're working very closely with our channel partners. For a while, showrooming was a big buzzword, right? People looking in store and then buying online. Now what we're seeing more and more of is what we call web rooming, where people are shopping online and buying in store. And recently what you're seeing is across industries really, yes, foot traffic into retail is declining, but the foot traffic that's going to retail is far more focused, far more targeted with a much higher propensity to buy, and so conversion rates in stores are going up markedly. And so we need to make sure that we're delivering that proper experience, the last foot of that sale, regardless of whether that's in a third-party retailer site or on our website.
Now, James, having stores, what's your perspective on that? I know mobile is a huge way that you're communicating with your shopper. So how are you using that mobile experience to enhance that opportunity?
So up until 2 years ago, we didn't even have Wi-Fi at corporate. That's sort of what we assumed at that stage in the company's life. That's how things were. So that should be kind of encouraging to anyone because it's very easy to catch up. My view on the mobile device, we are running a socially driven mobile conveyed technology strategy. All right? So it's all through social media, everything that involves loyalty, it's all under loyalty. Right? There are much cooler younger people that are teaching me these new sayings now, like ride or die. I learned that. It's a saying. I didn't know that, right? Now I'm with cool hip people, ride or die. I figured out that I loved this company because I loved how the store managers were ride or die with their customers. That's why I fell in love with this business. And it's not a job for many of our store employees. And I was touched, frankly. So we're trying to convey that same emotion, and we saved a lot of jobs and saved a lot of relationships. But how do you do that through mobile? And I think mobile is a very intimate device, right? So one of the things I came up with, this is a Jamesism, I call it the emoji test. I told everyone in the company that one day I wanted to run the company with just sending emojis for one day. I didn't even know what emoji was, okay? Up until two years ago, and Erica just got me to do a LinkedIn account in March. Okay, that's sort of where I was and kind of my view on things like that. But an emoji, to me, is a real proof of concept about how intimate you are with a person, right? If Amazon sends me an emoji, I'm going to throw up. Why are you, right? Just give me my goods on time, in the manner in which I transacted, now, right? That's the deal. But an emoji to me is, you have to know somebody intimately, and you can convey in one face like what 50 words can't convey. And to me, that's the litmus test about how well the company would know me. I'm talking about the store employees too. I think at this point, every manager by name. I've shaken almost everyone's hand. But to our customers. So we send emojis to our customers on text or on social, and we're testing to see how intimate we are with her. Can we get away with it? Right? Will she have the Amazon reaction? And she doesn't. And so we're learning her and really understanding her and trying to, those weird cockeyed faces with one. I don't even know what they are, but sometimes when you have an emotion.
You sound like such a dad right now.
I am. I'm older than you guys think. It's sad, right? But anyway, so think about that from a mobile standpoint, the emoji test. It's very intimate. You don't want people sending you emojis at 11 o'clock at night that have no right to send you that. And I guess from a brand standpoint, we're trying to earn her trust and her friendship that we can get away with a little bit more, right? And she'll give us the benefit of the doubt. And if that's the only thing that we achieve, then I feel like we'll be successful. Right?
One thing that I noticed as far as some of the social interaction that was going on in Ashley Stewart was that I was looking at your Facebook page. Every single comment by one of your consumers was responded to in some way. By your social media team. I'm assuming your social media team. Right?
Well, Erica and her team
was doing this.
And we really quote, this is a long word that I'm going to butcher. Don't ask me to spell it. The whole strategy is that we really anthropomorphize this brand. And I'm not a plus-size woman, but I am Ashley Stewart. I am the voice. And we treat every customer as if she's our friend. And if I sent some email to a friend of mine and that person didn't respond to me, are we friends? So we're having this big birthday party in October for Ashley Stewart. Don't ask her how old she is. Don't ask me either. The marketing is very first person. It's, you're not coming to my party? What? Right? How intimate that is, right? You're not going to come to my party? That's the type of friendship we really are trying to aspire to at a corporate level. That, frankly, this isn't genius. This is really just trying to crystallize what I saw and fell in love with at the store level. Right? For 23 years, these women had this friendship at the stores, and it's just didn't work from a business standpoint, so we had to rewrite the whole business model to make sure that they could continue to have that relationship, but make a lot of money while doing it. So that was been the mission of the company.
Great. And so, Amanda, going into how Living Social is responding on the social media front, we talked a little bit earlier about the ways that you're kind of diving in and analyzing and segmenting that traffic and using that as a way to reach your consumers. So can you talk a little bit about your strategy and how you're approaching it?
Sure. I am not blessed to be on the customer-facing side where you actually have this not transactional relationship, but this actual connection to them. I manage the paid social portion. So we take customer, again, the segments that we've broken them into and understand their buying behavior, and then you can match them in a lookalike and find, okay, we know this much about you already, so it's an educated leap in what we think you're going to want to see and the way that you want to be communicated to, because you know, when you wake up in the morning, you turn off your alarm clock, which is now your phone, and you scroll and hope it doesn't fall on your head, and you are ruthless in deleting your first few emails that you get, and then you go on Facebook or whatever it is, and you start seeing what people are doing. And so we actually target paid social based on when we see those flux times, because when people are a little bit more voracious about deleting things in their email, they might be more receptive in social, and then they might be more receptive to getting a push notification or something like that around lunchtime, because you know they're ready for a distraction in their day. And so we want to understand our customer well enough to say, you know what, if I wouldn't text you at 12 o'clock at night because you have a 1-year-old, I'm probably not going to send you a push notification then. So it's finding the right time and the right medium. So we use a lot of paid social tactics for that. The one thing is that, again, using multi-touch attribution, it gets a little bit muddy because Facebook doesn't allow that view-through impression tracking. So we look at a lifetime value return, and we view paid social, especially with the lookalikes, as more lead gen. So we know who's engaging with us and who's interested. So it's almost like you're being set up on a date by one of your friends. So it's not just like this blind concept. We have a little bit of things in common. We know just enough about you that we have a good feeling about this.
Great. Yeah, so that was one of my follow-up questions was going to be some of the challenges that you come across. And I know we talked about impression tracking, and I think that's something that within affiliate is we haven't really necessarily been on the forefront of that or have pushed that in our own industry. But I know that, you know, as moving forward, that's going to be an important part of being able to capture and track that whole consumer journey and get that holistic view of what those consumers are doing, how they're interacting. So what are some of the ways that you're maybe trying to counteract that or work around it maybe?
So we did a study in affiliate. The world is very, very just, we love our customers. We feel like that last click connection there, they're choosing us. It's overt and it's deliberate. But a lot of attribution methods don't take into account a customer's loyalty to a last click. It doesn't seem to exist in the universe. So we did a study where we took all of our customers that only purchased from affiliate and then the rest of our base, and we looked at that overlap, and we said, well, there's a significant portion of customers who will only buy from affiliate, and not only that, they'll only buy from the same affiliate. So not only just the channel, but the avenue they got there, their network, their community. But in that overlap where they're touching email and social and affiliate and everything else, those customers purchased at a higher number of purchases per year and at a higher AOV every time. So that opportunity to, maybe get the email exclusive and then get the double cash back from another partner and then get the mobile flash sale. It all sort of gives them different reasons to give themselves permission to buy. And so we like to see that. And the other thing is, you say multi-touch attribution. We had a hard sell in trying to convince people there was value to it. It's a little too early for it, a little too hippie. We're not there yet. And we said, okay, you know what? Let's turn this channel off. We say that it doesn't make anything in last click. So if we turn it off tomorrow, in 2 weeks we should see nothing in multi-touch attribution because it was just noise. Mm-hmm. We saw more sales than what they normally had. There's a residual effect, and it's so hard to get yourself into the mentality of a 90-day purchase cycle payback period. Yeah. And you just have to realize not everything. Display is not going to have that instant gratification you get from affiliate. Doesn't mean it's not valuable. Paid social media is not going to have that instant gratification. It doesn't mean it isn't valuable. These customers go to these different sites and these different medias every single day, and it becomes habitual. And it's not just because it's there. Plenty of things have just existed. Google had a social media company called Orkut at one point in time. How many people belong to that? If it's not a build it and they will come. It's build it right. So I think that's a big portion, is understanding that there's a lot more involved. It's, a little kid, they finger paint and it's just big smears of color before they learn to color in the lines. Right. I think that's where we are right now.
Yeah. And I want to kind of go back to one of the points you made about offer strategy, and that messaging across the channels. And so again, one of the kind of underlying themes that I was seeing and some of the research and some of the things I've been seeing in my own experience is some of that offer confusion and the message confusion that can happen across channels, where a consumer doesn't know, okay, I received this offer in an email, or I received this message in an email. I'm supposed to click on this email and then go to the site and convert. That's not how it works. They click on the email, then they might go research on a blog, and then they might go to an affiliate site, but then they might return to the email to double check the offer and then convert. And that path is something that we've been talking about with this channel as consumer. But then the consistency of the messaging and the offers, and I know that Living Social has been doing some things as far as having kind of an underlying consistency to that, but then also talking about the different channels, and they can elicit different behavior, but then plussing up and plussing down depending on that. So if you could talk a little bit about how you're approaching that messaging and offer.
Sure. So Living Social, we send a lot of email, as I said. Sorry, it happens. And it's one of these times where you have customers who are in different stages of their life cycle, and maybe they're just introduced and it's that 30-day life cycle where we're sending you all these great feel-good type emails, and you wonder what that has to do with the Brookstone deal you're supposed to be buying. And then we have these emails that say, you've been gone for a while, we miss you, come back to the site. But we also wanted to make sure that beyond that, we have this really, really consistent look and feel. And we thought if we are the same everywhere, then nobody will get confused. And it's true up to a certain point, but nobody also feels special or incentivized to do something unique because you're not treating them uniquely. So when we looked at that Venn diagram, that circle, and we said, this material percentage only purchases from the affiliate channel. And these are customers who are lapsed, sleeping beauty, and even dead. They have hard unsubscribed from our channel. We have put them off enough that they don't want to talk to us ever again, because to make someone unsubscribe, it's effort, and people don't want to exert effort. Push that button's a pain. So by working with these other networks, you have to say, what is this channel giving our consumer that they weren't getting anywhere else in any form of media and messaging that's unique? And with affiliate programs, it's the trust of another company's brand. So where, early enough in your cycles, you might have come to a point where you didn't know what you know now. We're always smarter tomorrow than we were yesterday. And so we have this chance to win them back because, they love their airline so much. They love their company, and they're a voracious brand advocate of Samsung. They have a community that they trust, and they see you again there, and it makes them forget what maybe turned them off in the first place. And so again, it's giving value, speaking to them in the language they want to be spoken to, and in the community or in the specific online area that they want to participate in.
Right. Judah, can you talk about how you're approaching the offer and messaging across channel at Samsung?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the point about underlying consistency with different flavors, so to speak, is really well taken. I think first, a larger point, not very few of us, I think, are fortunate enough to have forward-thinking CEOs like James. So I think a lot of what we do is education. And it's something that, as we talk about the channel as consumer, and everybody from the C-suite down is trying to come to grips with what that means and what that looks like. At the same time, there are still preconceived notions within those same organizations about, oh, you're going to send an email, so you're going to get all your sales in 48 hours, so give us the results, and it's a success or it's a failure.
Right.
And that's not really the way it works. Affiliates, same type of thing, et cetera. So as we look at this, I think we have to take time to make sure we're educating within our organizations about how we can impact the channelless consumer across these various touch points. And it's very rarely about instant gratification. In our case, again, it's all about talking to our consumer the right way, talking to them in a way that they want to be spoken to. Personalization, frankly, is central to everything that we do. And so there are some consumers, and a lot of consumers just want, dollars off, but there are some consumers that getting something extra, a gift, might be more important than the dollars off.
Right.
So as we learn more and more about the consumers through personalization of on-site behavior, how they interact with us across social media and other things, we're refining our offer strategy to be able to deliver similar values, but in the flavor that the consumer wants. And the more that we get there to the ultimate point where we are delivering that one-to-one experience for the consumer, that's when we've achieved, I think, the goal, which is to really speak to them the way they want to be spoken to.
Yeah.
And that's when we can begin to establish that emotional connection that will take our brand to the next level.
Yeah, I think it all seems to come back to the relationship at the end, and that seems going to be like an essential component. I know, James, I think we discussed, and you had a slightly different approach to the offer messaging that you guys are doing at Ashley Stewart, so if you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, the company didn't know how to spell CRM 2 years ago. And as much as a quant guy I am, math, investor guy, you guys can probably tell that I cry at the end of Rudy every time I see it. Right? That's sort of how I am. So we've segmented our customers, but there are a couple of things, I guess, that we're doing that maybe is not, we're doing a lot of things maybe that we're not supposed to be doing, but here are a couple. I guess I view every person as all those customers. You know how you have like the loyal list, and then the one that shops at 6, and then the one that's grumpy. Right? You try to segment everybody. We do that. But I fundamentally think that most people are all of those people. And that's why I enjoyed, when I taught high school, before launching into being a capitalist pig, right? What I enjoyed about my students was just getting to know them in all of their complexity. Right? I feel that way about most people. And so we market to, there's some women, the same woman, on a Friday before she's going out at 5 o'clock, and she's there on the front of the store wanting to buy that hot size 14 peplum blouse. She wants it, right? She wants to be spoken to in a certain way. And then maybe on Monday at lunch, she blew all her money at the weekend, had a great time, and she's looking for a deal. It's the same woman, right? So I'd much rather understand and be friends with a person and understand her, everything good and bad about her. That's kind of how I approach life. I don't think it's any different than customers. No one's perfect. Mm-hmm. So it's a different type of segmentation, is understanding one person, but then understanding all 25 facets of this one very complex woman. That's how I view things, right? That's why, I guess, guys, I like women. I mean, that's just complex. I mean, it's just never a dull moment, right? And I guess the second thing is there's a lot of talk about price parity, right? Multi-channel price parity. We have 89 stores. We have an e-com business now. It's gone from 0 to whatever it is, and it's going to be over 33% of our business by the end of this year from nothing a couple of years ago. I don't believe in price parity either. I don't think that a woman would balk at paying an extra 5 to 10% at a store if she got excellent service and she was really taken care of for 2 hours by a sales associate and who she was friends with. I don't think people are like that. So the bet that I'm making is that we are investing heavily in people, in training, right, to use the technology. And so I don't, right? I mean, that's very different from a lot of other strategies that major companies are pursuing, that they want, it's $8.99 at every channel, I don't really believe that. I don't think that one is profitable business, but two, I don't think that that's how human beings are wired. So those are a couple things that we're doing in an oddball way. There are probably another 40 that are a little bit unconventional, maybe stupid, but we're experimenting with them.
Is there a concern, though, that could be a potential relationship risk, where you've got someone that's shopping online, and then they're buying something in the store, then they're going online and seeing like, oh, it's $5 more expensive or cheaper, and I could have gotten a better deal.
And that's why the other thing about the company, getting back to my desk positioning, is that 2 years ago when this all started, and I was sitting there in front of this company, they're insolvent, they're going to go in bankruptcy, and I'm a big believer in full transparency in everything. Some people say blunt. I say transparent. It's a nicer way to say it. We didn't hide anything. We don't hide anything from our customers. We apologize all the time. We never profess to be the fastest, the biggest, the best, the fanciest. We're never going to beat Jeff Bezos, right? The only thing that is in our control, so long as I have a pulse and involvement with the company, is that we will be the most loyal and earnest person to this woman. That's the only thing that I can physically and managerially control. So we say everything. When we were going bankrupt and we were moving the office, we couldn't do anything. We posted it. We were just saying, hey, we're having problems. We're really fighting to keep this brand alive. Please help us. That was basically the tone of it. We didn't hide it. We didn't say anything. And I think that our customers really have responded to it. She likes the fact that we're just her and honest, and it's a pretty difficult world out there, and we're basically saying, we're going through the same things you're going through, right? And that's the message, and I think that that's what's really driving our social media and our new customer acquisition, because that message cuts across nationalities, it cuts across race, it cuts across gender and age. And I think that those are universal truths. So.
Great. Yeah. All right, so we're getting close to the end. So I wanted kind of the last takeaway from each of you. As we talk about this channelless consumer, what do you think is the most important, is there an action that those in the audience could take today? Or what do you think is the most important thing to kind of take forward from in your experience? Well, go down the line. I'll start with you, Judah.
I mean, I think first and foremost, people need to focus on the customer. Mm-hmm. Not your customer, my customer, their customer, the other customer. If you're the email team, it's my customer, I got them. If you're a retailer, it's my customer versus the man. That's not what it's about. It's about the customer.
Right.
And companies, in my opinion, will succeed or fail based on their ability to put that customer first and to look at that customer as an individual. Yes, they share many attributes with other segments of a brand's customer base, but they are at their very heart an individual. And to the extent that we can understand them and give them the experience on their terms, no matter where that experience is delivered, that's what that channelless consumer means, and allowing them to get on and off that merry-go-round, yep, and always having the horse ready for them to jump on when they get on, because if there's nowhere for them to sit, they're going to jump off and go to another merry-go-round.
Right.
And so to the extent that you can make that happen, that's, I think, success or failure.
I'm totally stealing the merry-go-round analogy, by the way. So if anybody hears me say that in a meeting moving forward, I'm not going to give him any credit for it either.
I'm sure not. I'm sure not.
So next Tuesday morning, a metaphor to
right.
That's right.
Amanda, what do you think is the major takeaway from this conversation?
I think Judah has it right. It's come to the table as a team, check ego and territory, and don't fight over things that you already have. Moving money from the left pocket to the right pocket is what squabbling over email and affiliate and last click versus multi-touch really is. And you're leaving value to the customer you're supposed to be serving on the table, because that's not part of any of those discussions. So don't let that be your focal point. Challenge the accepted wisdom. By looking at multi-touch and last click, you're giving yourself more views, you're giving yourself more information. It's only going to make you a stronger marketer and a stronger company. You can never understand your customer enough. You can never say, the last click didn't come from there, so it isn't valuable. Right. You have to just really be willing to understand that a purchase doesn't just happen instantaneously. Not everything is an impulse person, especially online. There's no, I picked it up, I walked out the door, I don't know what happened.
Right.
And so every day, just because a customer made a purchase from you, you are not guaranteed their next one. You don't have a permanent share of their wallet. It's not your real estate. So you understand them and you win them back every time.
Great. Yeah, absolutely.
I think for me, it's most. Are mostly you a retailer? Are you working at retail? Is that most of the audience?
Just that lady
Marketing?
over here. Just the one, I think.
Okay.
No.
I mean, the advice that if you worked at Ashley Stewart, I guess, or this is what I would. These are rules of the road. Loyalty is 1st through 10. So you can laugh about ride or die or whatever expression, but it's ride or die. All right? She's right. That's it. You're not right. She's right. Number 2 is for you more youthful marketers in digital, go to the store and spend 10 hours with your customers. Right? This is coming from a private equity guy managing $4 billion quant guy. Go into the store and touch your customer. Right? We force people out of the stores all the time. There was one company I bought in Detroit. I actually used to be involved with Brookstone when I owned a huge chunk of the preferred stock of Brookstone. We shut down the head office for 3 days and told them to go work in the stores and not come back. All right? That was literally, you don't know your customer. Go. We don't need you here. So that's the other thing. And the third advice I'd give you in digital marketing, first of all, there's not going to be such thing as digital marketing. It's marketing. So learn print as well. Know the stores. But you better know your balance sheet. So you have to know your product, right? If you're just selling advertising, you have to know what you're selling. What's on the balance sheet? What is it she wants to buy? It's still a lot of this business is still a product-based business, right? The more you understand the inventory flow of your company and you get into bed with your merchants and really understand product flow, the better marketer you'll be, because you can be a brilliant marketer, and if you're selling crap, you don't look so brilliant. You can be a very mediocre marketer, but if you know your product and say, they bought this dress because this is a cocktail dress that you're supposed to wear, it's a boyfriend dress, right? And it's supposed to be worn like this with this Ruana, go girl. Then you can market correctly. And I find a lot of marketing people, particularly youthful digital marketing people, they're not really in touch with the product. And that's my advice to you. Those are 3 things I think that you could help yourself.
Great. Yeah. And just to summarize, I think that, piggybacking on James' point as far as being in the stores, I think we all, because of what we do and the reasons that we're here, we focus a lot on the digital and the online piece of it. But we forget that I think it's almost 90% of all retail transactions still happen in a store. So there's a lot of things that are going on that we're not capturing and we're not tracking. And there needs to be a more holistic view of what the consumers are doing. Amanda hit on it a little bit with talking about impression tracking. I think all of us in affiliate specifically are definitely guilty of talking about, here's your store strategy, here's your mobile strategy, here's your online strategy. But those are all the same things, because those consumers are purchasing in all of those places, across their buying decisions. And so being able to get that holistic view and being able to speak to those consumers wherever they are and wherever they want to go is a key piece of this, and something that I think as an industry that we can definitely improve on. The consumer journey is changing. These consumers are changing. And one other major takeaway that I got out of this conversation is almost an agnostic approach to your channel. So why do we care where the conversion happened as long as the conversion happens? And taking away some of that territorial dispute that Amanda talked about also is going to be very important to moving forward and being able to engage and influence this new consumer. And so I want to thank my panel for all of their time. I think that all the things that we talked about today really also kind of to bring my story full circle is, that's one of the major reasons why I made bought the couch that I did. I was was able to engage with that brand in the channels and across the devices that I wanted to, and really create that individualized, customized journey for myself. And so that is really the essence of that channel as consumer, and the tactics and the strategies we talked about today are great ways to start building those relationships.